Hello, my friend. I want you to imagine this moment like we're sitting together, maybe with a cup of tea or coffee, just talking about life. No pressure. No perfect words. Just an honest conversation. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a day where one small thing went wrong, and suddenly the whole day felt heavy? Maybe you woke up late. Maybe something small broke. Maybe someone said something that stayed in your head longer than it should. And even though the problem was small, your mood dropped, your energy went down, and everything after that felt harder. I've been there many times, and I know you have too. That's where today's topic comes in. We're talking about positive thinking. Not the fake kind, not the everything is perfect kind, but real, practical, human positive thinking that helps you live better, think clearer, and feel calmer inside. A lot of people misunderstand positive thinking. They think it means smiling all the time, or pretending problems don't exist. That's not true at all. Real positive thinking means learning how to respond to life in a healthier way, especially when things don't go as planned. Life will always bring challenges. That part never changes. What can change is how we talk to ourselves when those challenges show up. Think about your inner voice for a moment. That voice in your head that talks to you all day. When something goes wrong, what does it usually say? Does it support you, or does it attack you? Many of us are much harder on ourselves than we would ever be on a friend. If a friend makes a mistake, we usually say, "It's okay, you'll do better next time." But when we make the same mistake, we say, "I'm terrible. I always mess things up." That difference matters more than you think. Positive thinking starts with awareness. You first notice how you think. You notice the words you use inside your head. Words like always, never, or I can't. These words feel small, but they are powerful. They shape how you see yourself and your future. Here's something important. One mistake does not define you. One bad day does not define your life. One failure does not mean you will fail forever. When you think positively, you remind yourself of that truth again and again. And there's something else many people don't talk about enough. Positive thinking doesn't only affect your mind, it affects your body too. When you think negative thoughts all the time, your body stays tense. Your stress stays high. You feel tired even when you rest. But when you practice positive thinking, your body relaxes. Your breathing becomes calmer. You sleep better. You feel lighter. This is not magic. This is how the human body works. I've noticed this in my own life. On days when I focus on what's going wrong, everything feels heavier. But on days when I focus on what I can do, even small wins feel meaningful. One simple habit that really helps is gratitude. Gratitude means noticing what is already good in your life, even if life isn't perfect. And no, it doesn't have to be big things. It can be very small. Maybe you had a good meal today. Maybe you finished a task you were delaying. Maybe you enjoyed a quiet moment. When you pause and notice these things, your mind slowly shifts. You start training your brain to see balance instead of only problems. Another powerful habit is how you talk to yourself before challenges. Let's say you're nervous about something. A presentation, a test, a conversation. The negative voice says, "I'm going to mess this up." Positive thinking doesn't say, "This will be perfect." It says, "I'm prepared and I'll do my best." That small change creates confidence instead of fear. Visualization is also helpful. This simply means imagining yourself doing something well before you do it. Athletes use this all the time, but you don't need to be an athlete. You can imagine yourself speaking calmly, staying focused, or handling a situation with confidence. Your brain responds to these images more than you might expect. Now, let's talk about people for a moment. The people around you affect your thinking deeply. If you spend a lot of time with people who complain, criticize, and expect the worst, that mindset slowly becomes normal to you. On the other hand, when you're around people who are encouraging and hopeful, your own thinking lifts up. If you don't have many positive people around you right now, that's okay. You can still protect your mindset. You can choose what content you consume, what conversations you stay in, and what thoughts you feed every day. And don't forget this. You can be a source of positivity too. A kind word, a sincere compliment, a small encouragement. These things matter, not just for others, but for you as well. Of course, even with all this, life will still hurt sometimes. Things will still go wrong. Positive thinking does not remove pain. What it does is help you move through pain without losing yourself. When something doesn't work out, instead of saying, "This is the end," you learn to say, "What can I learn from this?" That question alone can change your direction. And there's one more thing I really want to say before we go further. Positive thinking does not mean ignoring your feelings. If you're sad, it's okay to be sad. If you're disappointed, it's okay to feel that too. Real positivity allows space for emotions while still choosing hope. This is a daily practice, not a one-time decision. Some days will be easier than others, and that's completely normal. You don't need to change everything today. Start small. Notice one thought. Change one sentence in your mind. Write down one good thing before sleep. These small actions slowly build a stronger, calmer mindset. And as you keep going, you'll notice something beautiful. Life won't suddenly become perfect, but you'll feel more in control, more peaceful, more confident in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. All right, let's keep going. As we move deeper into this idea of positive thinking, I want you to understand something very clearly. This is not about changing who you are. It's about returning to who you are before fear, stress, and self-doubt took too much space in your mind. Most negative thinking is learned. We pick it up from experiences, from failures, from criticism, and sometimes from people around us. Over time, the brain starts choosing negative thoughts automatically, like a habit. But here's the good news. If a habit is learned, it can also be unlearned. Your brain is always listening to you. Every sentence you repeat in your mind is like a message you send to yourself. When the message is negative again and again, your brain believes it and reacts accordingly. When the message is supportive and hopeful, your brain slowly shifts in that direction too. This is why positive self-talk matters so much. Self-talk is simply how you speak to yourself inside your head. You might not even notice it, but it's always there. When you wake up, when you work, when you make a mistake, when you rest. Let's take a simple example. You're trying to build a new habit, maybe learning English, exercising, or improving your focus. One day you miss it. The negative voice says, "See, you never stay consistent." Positive thinking says, "Okay, today didn't go as planned. Tomorrow is another chance." Both thoughts describe the same situation, but one makes you quit, and the other helps you continue. That's the real power of positive thinking. It keeps you moving forward instead of giving up. Another important part of this mindset is patience. Many people try to think positively for a few days, don't see big changes, and then stop. But positive thinking works quietly. It changes your reactions first, then your habits, and then, slowly, your life. You might not notice the shift immediately, but one day you'll realize you're calmer in situations that used to stress you out. You'll notice you recover faster from disappointments. You'll notice you're kinder to yourself. And that's progress. Now let's talk about setbacks again, because this is where most people struggle. When something goes wrong, the mind loves to create stories. This always happens to me. Nothing ever works. These thoughts feel true in the moment, but they are often emotional, not factual. Positive thinking teaches you to pause before believing every thought. You learn to separate facts from feelings. The fact might be, this didn't work. The feeling might be, I feel discouraged. Both are valid, but neither means the future is hopeless. A very helpful habit is asking better questions. Instead of asking, why does this always happen to me? Ask, what can I do differently next time? The first question traps you. The second question frees you. This doesn't mean you blame yourself. It means you empower yourself. Self-compassion plays a huge role here. Being kind to yourself is not weakness. It's strength. When you fall, you don't need punishment. You need understanding and encouragement, just like a good coach would do. Now, there's something important we need to be careful about. Not all positivity is healthy. Sometimes people push themselves to stay positive, even when they are hurting deeply. This can create pressure and guilt, like they're failing at being positive. Healthy positive thinking allows honesty. You can say, this is hard. You can say, I'm struggling. And at the same time you can say, I will find a way through this. That balance matters. Let's talk about routines, because mindset grows faster when supported by daily habits. You don't need complicated routines. Simple ones work best. For example, how you start your morning sets the tone for the day. Even one calm thought in the morning can change how you react to stress later. Something like, today I will take things one step at a time. Another simple habit is reflection at night. Before sleeping, ask yourself, what went okay today? Not perfect, just okay. This trains your mind to notice effort, not only results. Breathing also plays a role in positive thinking. When your breathing is shallow and fast, your thoughts become anxious. When your breathing is slow and deep, your mind calms down. Sometimes, positive thinking starts with a deep breath, not a thought. And remember, your environment matters. What you watch, what you listen to, what you read. If your mind is always filled with negativity from outside, it becomes harder to stay balanced inside. Choose content that supports your growth, especially when you're tired or stressed. One more thing I want to talk about is comparison. Comparing yourself to others is one of the fastest ways to destroy positive thinking. You only see a small part of other people's lives, usually their best moments. You don't see their struggles, doubts, or failures. Your journey is your own. Your pace is your own. Positive thinking helps you focus on your path instead of constantly looking sideways. And here's something very important. Positive thinking does not mean you never feel fear. It means you don't let fear control your decisions. Courage often begins with a positive thought like, I'm scared, but I'll try anyway. Over time, these thoughts build confidence. Not loud confidence, quiet confidence. The kind that stays with you even when things are uncertain. As we continue, I want you to remember this. You don't need to become a different person. You don't need to force happiness. You just need to become more aware of how you think and gently guide it in a healthier direction. This is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice. Let's take this to the final layer now, where positive thinking becomes not just an idea, but a way of living. By this point, you can probably feel that positive thinking is not about forcing your mind to be cheerful. It's about building trust with yourself. Trust that no matter what happens, you will handle it. Maybe not perfectly, maybe not easily, but honestly and steadily. One of the biggest shifts that happens when you practice positive thinking is this. You stop fighting reality. Instead of saying, this shouldn't be happening, you start saying, this is happening, so what's my next step? That shift alone reduces so much mental pain. Life becomes lighter when you stop arguing with what already is. Another powerful change is how you see time. Negative thinking often traps you in the past or scares you with the future. You replay mistakes again and again, or you imagine problems that haven't happened yet. Positive thinking gently brings you back to the present moment. Right now, in this moment, you are okay. You are breathing. You are learning. You are moving forward, even if slowly. And slow progress is still progress. Let's talk about confidence for a moment. Many people believe confidence comes from success, but real confidence often comes from resilience, from knowing you can fall and stand up again. Positive thinking builds that kind of confidence because it teaches you not to fear mistakes so much. When you stop seeing mistakes as proof of failure, you start seeing them as proof of effort. And effort is something you can always be proud of. This mindset also changes how you communicate with others. When you think more positively, you listen better. You react less emotionally. You give people more space to be human, just like you want space for yourself. Relationships become calmer because you're not always expecting the worst or taking everything personally. You understand that everyone is carrying something inside, even if they don't show it. Positive thinking also helps you set healthier goals. Instead of goals based on pressure or comparison, you choose goals based on growth. You stop asking, how fast can I reach this? And start asking, how can I stay consistent? Consistency beats intensity every time. There will still be days when your mind feels heavy. Days when old negative thoughts come back. This doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human. The goal is not to eliminate negative thoughts forever. The goal is to notice them faster and not follow them as deeply as before. Think of your thoughts like passing clouds. You don't need to chase them. You don't need to fight them. You can just watch them pass and choose which ones deserve your attention. Over time, you'll notice that positive thoughts start to appear more naturally. Not because you forced them, but because you created space for them. Another beautiful thing about positive thinking is how it connects to purpose. When your mind is always negative, it's hard to see meaning in anything. But when your mindset softens, you start noticing small reasons to keep going. Helping someone, learning something new, improving little by little. Purpose doesn't always come as a big dream. Sometimes it comes as a quiet feeling that what you're doing today matters. And it does. Your effort matters. Your growth matters. Your willingness to try again matters. As you move forward, remember that positive thinking is not a destination you arrive at. It's a practice you return to. Some days you'll do it well. Some days you won't. Both are okay. What matters is that you don't give up on yourself. If you take one thing from this whole conversation, let it be this. You are not your worst thoughts. You are the one who notices them. And that means you have more power than you think. Be patient with your mind. Be kind to your heart. And keep choosing thoughts that help you move forward, even when they feel small. Because small, positive choices, made again and again, quietly build a stronger, calmer, and more confident life. And you deserve that.